Trina, you ready to go trout fishing?
I guess. I've never fished for trout before.
Well, come in, we'll show you how. Have a seat right here. Trout live in cool, clear water. In order to fish for them, you have to use a lighter weight line, 4-pound, 2-pound test line. In order to use that, you have to use an ultralight rod and reel. I have a spinning ultralight rod and reel here, which I like to use whenever I trout fish.
This is the one I brought know how to use. Is this one okay?
That's perfect. That's an ultralight spin cast rod and reel. Most Arkansas trout fishing is classified as tailwater fishing. Our trout waters are the result of deep water releases from man-made dams. Trout require cold water for survival. Our trout waters include the White River, the Norfolk River, the Spring River, the Little Red River, the Little Missouri River. Just below the dam, on the Ouachita River, we also stock a few urban locations with trout during the winter months. A list of these can be found in the Trout Fishing Guidebook. We're going to be fishing on the bottom today. We're going to need a 3/16 ounce bullet weight. First, you put a slip sinker on your line. I like a 3/16 ounce bullet weight. Next, you tie a barrel swivel. And now we're going to trim the little tag in. On the other side of the barrel swivel, you tie a leader, about 24 inches long. I like to use a number 8 salmon egg hook on the end of the leader. I use the fisherman's knot for all my connections. Thread the line through the eye of the hook. Be sure to leave plenty of tail. Twist the tail around the standing line 5 times. Pass the tail end of the line through the hole nearest the eye of the hook and up through the big loop. Wet the whole thing. Grasp the hook firmly in your fingers and pull the line to form a knot. Cut off the excess tail.
That sure is a small hook.
Yes, remember I said trout were a sight feeder? Well, you have to use a very small hook so that they don't refuse their bait.
What are we using for bait today?
Well, the bait we're using today you actually can eat part of. We're using marshmallows and waxworms. Trout will take a wide variety of natural or prepared baits. Baits that are used most often include red worms, waxworms, cheese, corn, salmon eggs, power bait, marshmallows.
Marshmallows? Trout eat marshmallows?
Trout actually don't eat the marshmallows. The marshmallows are to float the waxworms just off the bottom so the trout can see them. A properly assembled bottom rig will look like this. It contains a weight, barrel swivel, a leader of 2 or 4 pound test line, 18 to 24 inches long, and a small hook. It will sit in the river like this diagram shows. Let's get our life jackets on and go find us a fishing hole.
Lee, why did we pick this spot?
We picked this spot because trout like deeper holes. As you can tell, we anchored on the shallow side and we're going to fish downstream. That's where the trout like to live. You ready to get started?
I didn't think you would ever say that. I'm ready to catch one of these trout.
In Arkansas, we have 4 types of trout. The Brook Trout are very colorful. They have crimson spots with blue halos, light worm-like markings on dark green upper body, and a white edge on the front of the lower fin. The brown trout are the largest Arkansas trout. They are usually golden brown. They have orange or red spots on the sides, no spots on the tail, and their abdomen usually is yellow. Cutthroat trout have a red-orange slash mark on the underside of their lower jaw. They have a black spotting that is heavier toward the rear of the fish. The rainbow trout are the most common trout in Arkansas. They have black spots over the entire body with a spotty tail. They generally have a pink stripe down the center of the fish. First, you take a half a mini marshmallow and put it on a hook. Next, you take a wax worm and hook it through just behind its head. Now, you're ready to cast downstream. After you cast, you engage your reel and set it down by the boat.
How do you know when you get a bite?
Well, the top of your pole will start jumping around.
Then what do I do?
Then you pick up your pole, point it toward the fish, and tighten up the line. When it gets tight, then pull back and jerk. Set the hook.
Lee, are there other ways to catch trout?
Trout can be caught using artificial baits. These include plastic jigs, small crankbaits, inline spinners, marabou jigs, and small spoons. Some people like to fly fish for trout. Fly fishing is a type of fishing that allows you to present a very small bait or fly. The two most popular flies used in Arkansas are the woolly booger and the sow bug. The sow bug is an aquatic roly-poly and makes up a large percentage of the trout's diet. All right, Katrina.
So are we going to keep this, or what do you want to do with it?
We're going to just let him go back free. But he did swallow the hook, so we're going to have to cut the line. I'm going to make sure we get as close as we can and have a little bit of a line as possible. We're going to release it back into the water. Now it's time to catch another one.
Lee, where do all these trout come from?
These trout come from hatcheries here in Arkansas. We have federal hatcheries and we have state-run hatcheries. Trout are raised in 3 locations in Arkansas. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has 2, the North Fork Hatchery and the Gris Ferry Hatchery. The Arkansas Game and Fish Commission has 1, the Jim Hinkle Spring River Hatchery. Trout production starts with fertilized eggs received from the federal broodstock. The eggs incubate for approximately 10 days in 53-degree water before hatching. The fry are raised to 3-inch fingerlings indoors before moved to outside raceways. While in raceways, they are fed a high-protein commercial feed. After reaching about 8 inches, the trout are moved to large underground silos where they are fed 3 times a day until they reach 11 inches. The time from egg to 11-inch trout is approximately 12 to 16 months. The fish are then pumped into a processed raceway where they are then pumped into a specialized truck for transportation to stocking locations across the state. These 3 hatcheries provide around 1,750,000 trout annually. Well, Katrina, we had a good day and we caught a lot of trout.
Yeah, we did.
You ready to go home?
I am. I learned a lot today, Lee. Thanks for teaching me how to trout fish.
You're welcome.